Hey y'all, and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, thanks for stopping by. Today we are working on a vinyl, foil, and alcohol ink split tumbler. I am working on a 30-ounce straight tumbler from the Tumbler Supply Store, and I just did normal prep and sanded it and spray painted it white, and then into my epoxy I just added some Diamonds and Dust Angel Wings glitter and then epoxied like normal. It's my little cheat method for glittering a solid colored tumbler. And then once that was dry and cure, I just took some painter's tape and split it approximately down the middle. I just kind of eyeballed it down from that circle in the middle and then taped off half of the tumbler. I'm not a measurer, so I just kind of guesstimated and it looked centered. And then I took these 3 heart vinyls from AB Designs Co. and I split them evenly and created a stripe for the vinyl half of this tumbler. This red one that I am applying right now is a clear vinyl, so that is why I needed to make sure that there was glitter and something on the underneath side of this because that pretty glitter will show through. And then I just applied them in this pattern that I liked. I liked the red and then the white and then the red again to give it some balance. So I applied those 3 vinyls and then I did trim off the bottom half or the bottom portion of the small heart vinyl. I just used my Cami Page Boutique edge trimmer and trimmed up that so it was nice and clean on the bottom, which I think I did forget to record, but that's okay. And then I did use the edge of the blue painter's tape to help me trim off the edge of each of these pattern vinyls. I just took my X-Acto knife and ran it right along that edge of the blue painter's tape, and it gave me nice, crisp, clean, straight lines because I can't trim or cut straight to save my life, and peeled all of that off, and it gave us nice clean straight lines for this vinyl. When I started this tumbler, I didn't have an exact game plan on what I was going to add on the white side. So I went to Creative Fabrica and was just looking for maybe a Seine or something, and I found these adorable XOXO with the hearts in it. So I thought that would be a fun little element to add on that side. So I cut it out large in just some removable vinyl, and I am going to place that on the white side, and then we're going to do some fun little things with some alcohol ink and some foils. Now I'm just going to go in with my red alcohol ink, and I'm just going to brush it on just kind of like I'm doing a wood grain, and I'm just applying it. First I tried applying it right to my paintbrush and I didn't really like the light coverage it gave, so I would just put a drop or 2 on the tumbler and just praying that I didn't let it run and just back and forth swiping it to cover the entire XO. I wanted a little bit of the white to still show, so I didn't go all the way to each edge, but enough to just cover that XOXO completely. Now we're going to go in with some foil glue and apply that over the entire area of the alcohol ink. I'll be honest, I didn't let it dry for too terribly long. I let it dry for a few minutes, but the alcohol ink for the most part is pretty dry because it wasn't a super heavy thick coat, so it was pretty dry pretty quickly. So I just covered that entire thing in this foil glue that I get from Artistic Painting Studio. I am almost out, so the bottom it is a little bit thick when it's been kind of sitting, so I do need to order some more of that ASAP. But I dipped my paintbrush in a little tiny bit of water and then dabbed it off on a paper towel, so just it was more like a damp paintbrush than not really a wet paintbrush, but it helped that thicker glue spread a little bit better. Once I got that all applied, I did heat the glue with my heat gun just to speed up the process. And then I am taking little cuts of foil from Artistic Painting Studio as well in this gold color. I'm sorry, I'm terrible about knowing the names of the correct foils, so it is gold foil. And I am just applying it my most favorite way to use foils in just this grungy, distressed textured look. And I didn't want to cover up all the red, but I just wanted enough to give it some contrast between the red and the gold. And then I peeled up all of that removable vinyl once I was happy with the look and coverage of the foils. And then I did have two little spots where the red alcohol ink ran underneath that removable vinyl, but all I did was take a white paint marker and kind of paint over it just a little bit. You can see it a little bit, but it's nothing too terribly noticeable, but enough that I know it's there. But once it was covered up with that paint marker, you really can't tell. And actually, then I decided I was going to take red carpet from Diamonds and Dust and just add a little bit of texture, since there's still all the glue from the foil since we covered it completely. And I just applied it and then kind of did like the tack it method, and I just burnished that glitter into that glue and took a paintbrush and wiped off anything excess, or paper towel I used as well, just to remove all of that extra glitter. But it's not a super noticeable thing, but it just adds a little bit of texture in some different areas. After that, I decided that I am going to use the foil again to add some striping. I thought I might have some bright gold vinyl, but I didn't have anything that matched exactly, so I figured I would just use double-sided tape and apply foils again so that it all matched cohesively. I just ran that down each side of the vinyl stripes and then in between each of the chunky stripes, and I just applied that gold foil, and I love the way that looks, especially because the white vinyl with the red hearts has little gold spots on it, so it ties it all in together. And then I took some red vinyl. I have this like matte lustery foil, no, not even foil, I don't remember exactly what it's called, but I got it from Hobby Lobby and it's like my favorite vinyl, and I applied that down the center of each gold stripe. And then after that, it is almost completely done. I applied a coat of clear glossy spray paint to seal everything in, just because sometimes the foil glues will repel epoxy, so I wanted to make sure I had a nice coat of sealer coverage on there before I applied epoxy. And then I applied 2 coats of epoxy, and this beauty was all done. Okay, no, I lied. I am wrong. I applied a coat of epoxy, and then I went in and decided that the XOXO needed an outline just to kind of finish off all those edges. So I went in with some white vinyl. I just wanted it to kind of blend in, but just enough that the edges looked clean and crisp, I guess you could say. And I applied that white vinyl, and then it got 2 final coats of epoxy and was all done. You can see right there on this X where the white, I covered it up a little bit with that paint marker, and you can kind of see the spot still that I was talking about where the alcohol ink had leaked under there, but it's not super noticeable, so it doesn't really bother me a ton. But that is it. I hope that you guys enjoyed this and gained some inspiration from it. I love adding foils just for some texture and dimension, and I love all of these heart vinyls and how well they go together. I want to thank you all so much for all of you who have joined my mentorship group. If you are interested in joining, I will leave a link down in the description box, as well as all of the information where to find me and all of the products that I used down there. And I will see y'all again next week for a new tutorial. Bye, y'all.